Okay, so the first episode of the Creator Space podcast. Hello and welcome. I am here. Oh yeah, how do you want me to refer to you, by the way? Is it Tolu? Am I saying that right?
Yeah, my name
Yeah,
is
Tolu.
Tolu. Yeah.
Awesome. I'm here with my first guest. I'm really happy to start off this podcast with a really interesting and exciting guest that we're going to talk about some really exciting topics as well. So yeah, hi Tolly, how are you doing? How's your week been?
Doing
Quarantine been
good.
great?
Been going well with school and everything,
Yeah,
and obviously with the new lockdown, so we have to like get things together. It was
yeah,
quite short
full on.
notice. I was planning to return to school next week, but now everything is at home, so
Yeah,
it's just surviving. Yeah.
surviving. Yeah, absolutely. All locked down. You're in London, right? So
I'm
quite.
I'm I'm in Stevenage, not quite far away from you,
Oh,
by
okay.
the way.
Oh, yeah. Of course. My bad. Yeah, you do a lot of your photography in London,
Yeah.
though, which is really cool. Yeah. So we're all in online school and all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay. So I thought, because obviously some people listening won't know this, but this is our first time speaking, which is very exciting. But I thought a lot of people who are listening won't know much about yourself, and well, I don't know loads either. So I've got some kind of quick fire questions so that
Okay.
people can start to get to know you. Uh,
Yeah.
I'm going to pre-warn you here. Some of these are completely not anything to do with photography, or
Yeah.
I just had a little Google search and found some fun ones just to get the kind of icebreaker questions out of the way, I guess you could call them. So let's crack on. We've got a few here. So if you could eat any food right now, what would you eat?
Probably rice, jollof rice.
Okay, fair enough. Nice. What is that? Is that what's your favorite cuisine? What would you say is your favorite food?
Well, I mean, there's this rivalry that goes on in Africa with
Right.
Ghana and Nigeria about jollof rice. So my favorite is Nigerian jollof. That I'll eat anytime, anywhere we go. That what I like to eat most of the
That's
time.
great. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, good. All right, on a completely different topic, what is your favorite song? Do you have a favorite song, artist? What are you into?
Uh, well, I listen to different genre of music,
Yeah,
different types of music, but recently I've been enjoying T.Y. Bello. She's like this Nigerian artist. She
nice.
does like this soul and
Yeah,
gospel music kind of song. Yeah.
cool.
So she does this type of thing. And then it was like maybe pop. I say
Yeah.
I've been listening to indie pop recently. And
Oh yeah.
yeah, I like John Bellion. I like um there's this other guy that made I just retired from music.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name,
I
but
always find it impossible to remember artist names. Honestly, I'm
yeah,
so bad with the names of songs or artists. But yeah, no, actually, indie is something I've been a lot more into recently,
yeah,
actually.
it's just recently because I did, if you know MKBHD that does
Yeah,
this
yeah,
tech, yeah, he
yeah.
did a lot of his songs, so I've been listening to it.
Oh, okay, that's
Logic,
cool.
Logic is his name, yeah,
Oh, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I've been listening to that too. So those are like the favorite things I've been listening to recently.
Cool.
But
No, that
just
sounds really
enjoy
good.
my
That sounds really good. Okay, if you could be any animal, what would it be and why?
hmm.
Super random, like I said.
Probably an eagle.
An eagle. Oh, that's a cool one. I haven't heard that one before.
Yeah, because I mean, I like to travel, and with
Yeah,
these current restrictions, it's difficult to travel.
yeah,
But
absolutely.
eagles don't have restrictions,
Don't
so
have restrictions.
exactly, so you
That's a
travel
good one.
anywhere.
I like that. That completely works. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, what is one of the things that is on your bucket list if you have one?
Well, I want to visit Amsterdam.
Amsterdam.
That's what, yeah,
Yeah, that's such a cool place. I've never been myself either.
yeah,
But yeah, it's a really cool. I know my family a bit, like my dad and people, have been there for extended periods of time, and it sounds like a really cool place.
yeah.
Cool. Um, okay, who do you admire the most? A bit more of a deep one, I guess you could say.
In what aspect do you?
Take it however you want. I mean, I haven't really written more here. Why don't we go, since we'll theme it a bit more towards photography? Who do you admire the most as a photographer
Well,
or
in terms of
filmmaker or whatever?
photography, um, there's this guy called Slivio Raz. He's
Okay,
he's a he's a photographer. He's from Madagascar, but lives in I think Italy or France.
cool.
He does street photography and portraits, and also into music.
Yeah.
So he has a good mix of both of them.
Oh, wow,
I
that's good.
discovered his channel like last 2 years ago. So like he did this, um, he was sponsored by I think Fujifilm to go to Tokyo,
Oh, wow.
and he called a friend of his. Like
Yeah.
this guy just messaged him on Instagram one time, and he was like, "Oh, he wants to shoot him," which is why I always like Instagram when people just message you randomly.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
like few months later, that guy called Slivio Raz was messaged by Fujifilm to go to Tokyo to get some photos for them and do some
Wow.
project work. And then he said he could bring someone along. And then this guy that he hasn't even met before, that he met online, but because they had like a good conversation on Instagram, he called him, and both of them went to Tokyo together. And the whole story where he did like a 3 episode YouTube video on
Yeah.
um his trip to Tokyo, which was really interesting. So I really like him. Hopefully I'll meet up with him someday. But that's one
And
person
yeah,
I look up to.
that sounds like a really cool story actually. And that is, it just goes to show the positive sides of, this community. You can link up with people from that you would never normally have done so in the past. It's super cool. Okay, if a movie was made of your life, what genre would it be and who would play you?
Hmm. Genre. Probably something musical, I'll say,
Yeah,
because I've been a huge fan of music since like 9.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I played drums since I was 9 and all of that. And then
Oh,
started in
cool.
other instruments. But I'll say musical. But then I'll be like, it was in terms of character, I'll probably be just that um the guy that just lays around, not really like a main character,
All
but
right.
like
Okay.
underneath, and then people want to know more about him.
So
You know,
like
like
the kind of
underdog.
mysterious character that has like their own hidden story.
Yeah,
Oh,
something like
that's
that.
cool. Yeah, I like that. You're not always the center focus of everything. I respect that. I respect that. Okay, another camera, well, photography themed one. If you could have any camera for a day, what camera would you choose?
Well, I'll choose a Canon M50. I'm
Nice.
I'm a- I'm a I'm a big fan of Canon. I don't know, just because of the color scheme.
Yeah, a lot of
Yeah,
people say
I
that.
do like Canon. But if you like as for photo, if it's like videography, I'll
Yeah,
probably pick Sony A7S III.
yeah. I mean,
That that, that
camera
that's good
is
for,
crazy.
yeah. That's good for videos. But like if it's in
Yeah,
photography, I like Canons because of the color scheme and everything.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's a good choice. That is a difficult one because there are so many cameras now.
Yeah, there's so many.
Like it has gone insane. Okay, a few more and then we'll move on to some more meaningful topics here. If you won $1 million, what would you buy?
Hmm. Well, by uh, that's difficult. I've never thought of this
I know.
before.
No,
Hmm.
neither. I mean, I've never really thought about this question either, to be honest. It's a difficult one.
Well, I mean, firstly, probably buy a house so I don't have to
Mm,
pay rent anymore.
yeah,
That'll probably be the first thing, and then probably invest in like gear.
yeah, yeah.
I read yeah, maybe like
Invest in
some
yourself.
new lenses and bags and all of that.
Yeah.
And probably just keep the remaining for like traveling.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
That,
Yeah, I mean,
that,
of course, like, I guess with that quantity of money, you could always be like, you could get all that stuff where it's like, I'd really like this, but I just cannot afford it in any
exactly.
shape or way. Like, it would be really cool, but there's just no way. Absolutely. Okay. What's your dream job? What do you wanna what do you wanna do?
Well, I want to be an electrical engineer at like someone like BMW or Samsung.
Yeah.
Those two brands, I hope one day I can work with them. Even though I'm an engineer, but like as a creative, because the creative side is what attracted me to the company. And then when I went to do some research about the company
Mm,
and the team and careers and all of that, I just said, well, since because I want to be an electrical engineer, so I just said that kind of matches with Samsung and BMW because
yeah.
in engineering, like in BMW, there'll be electrical engineers, mechanical engineers. So I could able to fit in there. And in terms of Samsung, they will need electrical and like computer engineers. So I just thought, I think the path I'm on is on the right path. So
Mm.
I would like to work at BMW or Samsung as an
Yeah, I
electrical
think they're
engineer.
cool. They're cool brands to work for, and
Mm.
definitely ones that I think as like technology and stuff is going to go
Yeah.
crazy, I assume in the next few years, as it always is at the moment. They're good places to be, definitely. Okay, we'll do a couple more and then we will move on. Let's go with you mentioned BMW. Do you have a dream car?
Well, the BMW X6, one of my,
X6. Yeah,
yeah.
they're a beast. Yeah, nice, nice. And we'll go back to a bit more photography one. Do you prefer to take photos at sunrise or sunset?
I like sunrise because most times it's really bad, but I don't like get that much sleep because sometimes I
Yeah.
like to wake up early in the morning to do different things. And at sunrise, there are not many people there. So
Mm,
it's just you. You could
yeah.
get there maybe at 5 a.m. and just take pictures and rest a bit. But if like sunset, there was people around. So I always prefer to go at sunrise instead.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you. I feel like sunrise is a lot more exclusive. There are a lot
Yeah.
less people around, less people to get that same shot. Whereas at sunset, everyone's still awake at sunset. Everyone's getting that shot. So yeah. All right, final one. Describe yourself in 3 words,
Well,
if you can.
uh, artistic, funny, and weird.
Weird. I respect that. I would also put weird as one of mine. There you go. I lost you for a sec. Yeah, I definitely put weird as one of mine. I respect that you've got the self confidence to say that one. Okay. Right. Let's move on. I think that's helped for me to get to know you a bit more, and hopefully everyone else listening. Um, all right. How obviously we're in very strange times, and 2021 hasn't quite started how I think we wanted it to, especially as students or as photographers. But how has obviously the pandemic affected you and how you go about your photography, especially as you do a lot of street photography? How's it impacted you?
Well, I mean, in terms of streets, it's kind of hard because you're trying to be responsible and
Mm,
stay at home, and sometimes you don't go for your exercise, and then you just take some pictures.
yeah,
Like the last lockdown, first I was not prepared because the last time I went to London, take some pictures were like December 2019,
mm,
and I'd not gone in January or February because mocks and exams and all of that.
yeah, yeah,
And then lockdown started in March, so I couldn't even go out anymore because I planned to go out and meet some other creatives. And for like 5 months or 4 months, I couldn't have anything. Most of the time, I just went on and joined FFA competitions. Anybody
yeah,
in FFA, street photography or portraits, because I like to incorporate portraits and streets into my feed. So
mm,
I just like, okay, let me just do that. And then I just said, let me just do that and let's see how this goes. And then after some few months, when we eased a bit, I decided to go to London
mm,
and take because sometimes I go to London like maybe twice every 3 or 4 months
Mm.
because I just sometimes I'm more of like someone like stay inside except after travel. So
Yeah,
I just said I take as many photos. Let's see.
and try and
From
stretch it out.
August was when I traveled, and I said, okay, from August, I need to take as much as 500 photos in London,
Yeah,
whether good or bad. And then when I get home, when I start editing, I should have at least 100 that are good.
right.
And so that was what I did. I put 100 that were good, and then I
Yeah,
set
yeah,
them up, and I put them in the drive, and put them there. And luckily, I was able to travel again in November.
yeah. Briefly.
So I was able to get another set of pictures and put
Yeah,
them up. And the thing about me is my friend knows this. Like there's a friend of mine that like my best friend, we do photography together.
yeah,
He always says that why do I take so many pictures and don't post them all? But the thing about me is I don't like to post every single picture because there's some pictures that you see and like probably you've not seen it around on Instagram
yeah,
and then you feel like, oh, this is a very special photo. Like you post it at a particular time.
mm,
Maybe okay, you see somebody else trying to take that picture and then you have a better one and then you not post it at that time. So most time my friend will be like, why don't you post the pictures? Post this picture. You have a lot of pictures because then I want to go out again and shoot more. Meanwhile, I have photos in the drive.
yeah.
So I just like to take bulk pictures of like street photography and portraits and then do them. And then when it comes to portraits, I decided to like start doing this FaceTime portraits, which I
Yeah, I
told you
remember.
about.
I remember. Yeah.
Yeah. So I just did those FaceTime portraits to like different people around the world, Spain, Italy, and all of that. Sometimes time difference makes it hard
Mm,
because
yeah. People are asleep
somebody in
awake.
America is like 6 hours behind and we
Yeah.
want to maybe do at 3 p.m. It would be like 9 or 10 p.m. here in England. So it's very hard. But then recently, I've just started, okay, I discovered this other guy on YouTube and he showed me something very interesting that I don't think many people know about, which I have not shared with many people, but he did something on Google Maps. He calls it virtual street photography.
Oh, okay.
And
That sounds interesting.
it works better on um PCs, laptops, and Macs and all of that. You would look for a location that you want to go to on Google Maps,
Yeah.
put it on Street View, and then it will show you the street and you can navigate the whole street and everything. And
Yeah,
then you
yeah.
take screenshots of that and just do light editings on it, which I
That's
started
cool.
doing
Actually,
recently.
that's an
Yeah.
idea I hadn't well ever thought of. Or and it's a creative one. I guess in times like these, it's about finding ways of just staying creative, keep going. Like you're not going to be able to do your like dream shoots or the best ones. You're not going to be able to go out as often as you might like. So taking quite a lot of photos in one go and kind of stretching them out. The problem I'm having at the moment with my kind of personal feed, and I'm switching up a little bit, is one, running out of photos to post, which is
Yeah.
just always my thing. And two is I'm obviously stuck. Well, now even less because we can't really go very far with the surroundings that are around me. So I don't have any photos of London left, which I really want to do. I want to do more street photography and stuff like that. I just don't have any left that are like good photos that I want to post, and I don't have and around here I've basically shot near where I live, like everything I can think of, and so I'm just trying to find new stuff.
Yeah.
And so that's definitely been probably the hardest challenge, not necessarily motivating myself, but finding something different, something new. um, and so yeah, I feel like that's one of the hardest things.
Yeah, because
um,
during the first lockdown, the time when I was like totally down, like I didn't even know what I want to do. I just
yeah,
like I went on like a whole month or two not posting anything because I just felt there's nothing on the post. What do you want to do? I just said
mm,
I'll just sit down and do nothing. But then after like few months, I just thought about it and talked to myself, well, if you're not going to do anything, then what do you want to do? And I was like, okay. I just said, I just searched on, that's when I joined TikTok during the lockdown. And then I saw how different people started doing creative photography stuff, like this
Yeah,
lyrical artwork and all of them. And I said, okay, well, if I cannot go out to shoot in the street, I should try and do some creative stuff. And
yeah,
then I saw this guy in Paris that did like this creative street stuff, and then he put this stuff on the TV,
yeah,
put a glass, and then took pictures like he was literally there.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Creative. And it was quite like, I'm like, okay, let me just try and do this too. And then I did out of London, like the Millennium Bridge.
yeah,
And I did one of the Millennium Bridge. Like there was one picture of the Millennium Bridge I put on my feed. So I did that. I did one where I put my phone in front of the TV and then
yeah.
I put the same picture on the TV on my phone. I made it look like I was taking a shot in shot
The
kind of
shot,
picture.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
So all of those things during the lockdown, like seeing other people do stuff, for like, okay, since this person can do it, I should be able to do it too. And I just said, okay, let me just try that. And then I started doing it. And it was quite interesting because then I started challenging myself more and more. Because if
yeah,
you don't start, you will not know what's going to happen. That's
yeah,
why it's always good to start. Even if you fail, it's always good to at least start and try and say, okay, yes, I started this and I knew, okay, this was where I went wrong and this was where I went wrong. And I started doing it more and more. And then during the Black Lives Matter protest too, I decided
yeah,
to like try and use the opportunity. So I just took
mm,
more, I took some Black Lives Matter pictures and all of that. So
yeah,
different things can come, it doesn't necessarily have to be like the biggest of cities that you have to live in. Sometimes the little things are what you could use to like,
yeah. No, and I think the whole being at home and stuff like that really it stretched everyone's kind of imagination and forced us to try things that we would have never probably tried if we hadn't been in that situation. And yeah, I found there were lots and lots of really cool stuff that people came up with. I saw some of your stuff. Um, and yeah, I mean, it was clear to see that people were at home struggling for ideas because I mean, I made a video and it like boomed on that topic and it was like crazy. And I was like, how has this happened? But it just clearly shows that in that period of time, everyone was just so, I need to do something. I have no idea what to do. So I just need ideas or I need, some sort of just something to keep me going.
yeah, because yeah, I
Um,
remember it was that time when I was looking for like ideas. So I searched on YouTube, and then I
yeah,
saw your video that was doing quite well. I just like, wow, this guy has this little subscriber, and this particular video just went up.
yeah, it was
And then I just
crazy.
and then I now check your feed, and then I just started following you. That was where the whole searching for
Oh,
inspiration came from. So it was
yeah,
good that you were able to give inspiration to.
yeah, I know it was, and I mean that video is. Well, I look back on it now, and it is a shocking video. Like in my opinion, now I look back, I'm like, how did anyone watch this? But I mean, I think the ideas were pretty good, and even if they're not the best, they inspire people to come up with something of their own.
Yeah.
Um, but I remember looking back, I was like, oh, I can't believe I was looking back at my old videos earlier. I was like, wow, we've definitely improved a little bit since the summer. But yeah, okay. So I was looking at your Instagram feed, and I've obviously been following you for well, I think it was around since April now. Um, and obviously you have a lot of street photography. You have some portraits in there. But what I notice, obviously, overall, and what really sticks out to me, is like your very distinct style of like the colors and the way you edit your photos, which is something I haven't seen on literally any other account. And I feel like that's a very unique thing to have. Um, and something that really sticks out about your work over like other people's because you go to so many accounts and I've fallen into this group sometimes as well is that you just see it, if you follow any sort of landscape photographers or street photographers, and they're all just, so for street photography, it's all just like lots of blue and like neon lights and
Yeah.
whatever. And then for landscapes, it's like really desaturated greens and like oranges and dark blues and stuff like that. And like, yeah, it looks really cool, but a lot of people's feeds start to look the same, and it's quite kind of repetitive. Whereas with yours, I find it really sticks out a lot more because it's nothing like, it doesn't, for me, especially compared to other people I follow, it's completely different, and I really respect that. So where did the what am I trying to say? I'm trying to say, how did you get to that kind of style of your editing and your photography that's so different to everyone else, I guess?
Well, at the start of my page, I didn't know really much about editing. My friend was the one that started teaching me how to edit because he had been doing photography for a few years before I started. And
Yeah,
normally I'll just go to Lightroom and there's pre-made presets that are always there. All these
yeah,
saturated reds and
yeah,
saturated, yeah. Those ones are the ones I just pick and okay, yes. And then I put these vignettes to like -50 and make it feel black all around. And then I just started doing that, and then like for like 2 months, I just did like, I mean, there are people that will support you even though your work is not like that good. Like at
mm,
the beginning when I started, I used to see people that would comment on my pictures, oh, that shot looks nice and all of that. But then there are some people too that will comment that, oh, your editing is very horrible, and blah 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 blah
yeah,
blah. And then I took both of them positively, whether it was good or bad. And
yeah. That's
I
the right
just
way to put
started, and then I looked for different photographers online, and I was like, okay, most people like to go for teal and orange
it. Mm,
blues, teal and orange blues, or they'll go for moody shots, like this dark, shady stuff.
yeah,
And I'm like, it's always good for you to have like a distinctive style. There's this guy
absolutely.
called Iggy Wiggy.
Yeah,
His style, when he
yeah,
started, I know where he started to, and then he started a particular style, like those, like this warm green tones that he uses. And then I'm like, hmm. Because this guy, when he started, he didn't have that much. But when he started using, it's always good for you to have like a unique color in your feed. And
mm,
so I saw he had these greens in his feed, and it was very, very good. Like you won't see that same type of greens anywhere else. Like I want to have a style that's like his. And like, okay, this is how we did it. And I started doing that. And then when I first started, I started with like this orange. It was very, very saturated oranges that I
mm,
started with. And then I messaged him one day and I said, okay, how did you start growing your page? How did you get to this editing style and all of that? Because sometimes some people that I think might not answer your message might end up answering. Because at
yeah,
that point, he already had like, I think 10K followers.
yeah.
That
So
time he was
like
just,
30 something now, isn't
yeah,
he? Yeah,
he's
crazy.
grown so fast. And
Yeah,
I asked him and he was like, my what he learned from someone that is in Germany,
mm,
that different areas have different types of tones. Like if you want to have many people that are from Italy or England, like Italy people like Italy, Germany, Spain, they like moody tones. It does not
mm,
have to be the same color of moody tones, but like they like moody tones. If you live in somewhere like London, they like warm tones, like blue, greens,
mm,
just warm tones that are there. And then he said, my pictures are too orange. That he loves the shots, but
yeah,
the editing is too orange. And I'm like, okay, is there any way you can help me check it? And he said that you need to start, like, I need to learn the basics, like learn how to do the S curve. Like,
yeah,
a slight change in the S curve will make your color change. And so all those different parts of the editing, the clarity,
yeah,
saturation, and all of that. He started teaching me like, okay, he showed me how his own preset was, how the S curve was, and he said that I should go to my photo and edit it that way. And I started editing. It took me like up to 10 tries when I
Mm.
kept trying to get that particular S curve and the particular tone, because I was trying to learn, most times it seems hard, but at the end of it, you enjoy what you're doing. So
Yeah.
like I just started learning, and then he said the particular way you're editing, too much orange. I desaturated the oranges down, and I went for like I said, okay, I don't want oranges. I want something like vintage. And then I
Yeah.
searched up vintage on Pinterest, and it brought out this brown colors for vintage. And I'm like, okay, that's going to be a good mix. He has his own greens. I'm on mine to like vintage browns. So like not too dark, but like warm vintage brown. So that if someone
Yeah.
comes to my feed, they will see, okay, yes, this guy does vintage browns and is like consistent all through the feed. And then I sent him that, and he said, okay, that's a good color choice. And try and reduce the saturation, increase the contrast and all that. So it was from him that I started learning how to edit more. Because initially, even though I knew how to edit,
Yeah.
my edits were not the best.
Yeah.
Sometimes
Yeah.
you think you may know how to edit because I thought he knew how to edit. But he told me that when he started, he learned from someone else in Italy, and this person taught him how to edit. And then sometimes the way your feed looks and the way your editing looks is what
Mm.
attracts people to your pages.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have the regular blue, green, teal, people come to your page and like,
Yeah.
but the aesthetic of your feed will look too common, and people will be like, okay, I've seen this style here. I don't need to follow the same person using the same
Because
style.
same style. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll just like his picture and go on my own day. So
Mm.
sometimes having that unique style is what really attracts people to your page. I don't have the biggest pages, but I learned from him that if you have a good editing style
Mm.
and you keep it consistent, that way, if people come to your pages, or even if a big page comes to your page, the person can easily recommend your page to people. Just the same
Yeah.
way you see somebody else's page and you be like, oh, check out this guy because he had a very good tone. Like there's some people like Peter McKinnon now, he doesn't have the regular, oh, I want to have red, 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 or blue, blue, blue. It mixes up
Yeah.
the colors and it mixes up different colors. When it comes to autumn, it has a specific type of green that it uses,
Mm.
different from the way maybe Short Stash uses its own greens.
Mm.
So having unique styles and no regular styles is what really makes people attracted to your page because
Yeah.
people, anytime they see my work, they're like, oh, I like the way your page looks vintagey because you don't see many vintage colors on people's feed. So
Yeah.
the main point is always have a good editing style, unique editing style, which is not like the regular ones.
Yeah.
It could be the regular blue and green or teal, but make it different in such a way that you know that okay, yes, it's not the same editing that this person is doing. Like, you can easily maybe get a preset from North Borders. Okay, yes, you
Yeah.
get a pre and then look at how he edits that preset and then try to twist the colors. It might
Yeah.
just be a
Learn.
change in
Develop your own.
his slider, just that slider that you could change and some contrast and everything, and then that preset become yours because he has his own editing style. You just change the colors a bit, change the way it looks, the clarity. Some people like dreamy vibes and all of that. Reduce
Yeah.
the clarity, make it a little bit out of focus, and you could have a different type of
A
edits.
style. Yeah.
Yeah. So what is most important is your editing style, which is why I decided to go for that vintage brown color. And it was thanks to Iggy that taught me how to edit a bit that I was able
Oh,
to
that's
like
so cool.
increase and change my
Yeah,
editing.
I find that fascinating actually, how you took inspiration from, the advice you got given. You look up, you were looking at your feed, kind of reviewing it on like a really honest way. It was like, how can I make myself stand out and how can I make myself look different? Taking the advice from people, who are doing really well, speaking to them and asking, like, and saying, how can I improve? And, it's a really kind of, you have to have a lot of confidence in yourself to put yourself out there and say, do you know what? I probably need some advice or some help. And, if you don't ask, you will never know if they will
Yeah.
answer or whatever. So, um, Yeah, and it looks great, and I think it's really important, like you said, to stand out, and that's something I'm definitely going to work on
And it's always
for
good.
my own stuff.
It's always good, even though like you might think someone is young or someone is small. Like when he started, like when he was at 10K,
Mm,
for me it looked big, but to him it looked small.
yeah,
So some things might be too big, might be small. He might have, oh, the person might be at maybe 30K, and you might think, oh, 30K is big, but he wants to be at maybe 100K.
mm,
And you just reaching out to him, most times the way you approach people is very important. Like some people in my DMs or requests just go, hi, or can you teach me how to do this? How do you do this? Most of
mm,
those messages, those big accounts, just ignore them. There's this
yeah,
guy called Professor Hines. He answers questions on his story. Like people message him, hello, Professor, how's your day been? And then they ask him a question following it. Like you have to greet the person and say, okay, I
yeah,
like your work, which is the reason why you're messaging,
yeah,
compliment
yeah.
them. That way they'll feel more relaxed and more approachable.
It's a
And then
more
ask
like
them,
a normal conversation.
yes. So it's not like it's not like a request or you're
Yeah,
persuading the person. Because some people, like Iggy now, he doesn't really reply to many DMs anymore because he has reached 40K. He wants to go higher than 40K, but he has reached a point where he answers messages. But if you come to him with, hi, hello, I want you to teach me how to do this. I want you
mm,
to teach me how to do that. It will not answer you because he has many other requests of people that will come to him in a more approachable manner
yeah,
that he will be more willing to answer. Because when I first started following him, I just followed him and chatted him up and said I like his work. For like I chatted with him for like few days, and then we stopped talking. And then like few weeks after again, I messaged him and started talking again. And I just you keep following this person's work, keep following the person's work, and if you keep following the person's work, and the person sees the support,
mm,
if you message the person will be eager to work with you. Because there was this guy that said he doesn't like to work with people on collaboration basis. Like even though he likes to collaborate, but if you just come to him, a total stranger,
yeah,
without even approaching or introducing yourself or like trying to have a conversation, and then you still want to collaborate with him, then he's not going to answer your message because it's just like imagine you getting the DM from someone and the person is saying, hey Lucas, can you teach me how to edit this, blah blah blah. And you have a
yeah,
preset, if you just go, okay, go to Lucas' website, buy his
yeah,
preset and go.
yeah, yeah,
Sometimes you might just ignore the message because oh this person just came to me like, hi Lucas, can you teach me how to edit blah 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 blah.
yeah.
So most times we approach people if you need help is very important.
Mm, absolutely. I think it's also. I mean, you also, let's say you're in, I don't know, I was going to say down the street, but it's kind of random if you met a photographer just in the street. But I don't know, maybe you're at some convention with lots of photographers. You wouldn't just go up to someone and just be like, "Hi, teach me how to edit."
Yeah,
Like, it's not a
exactly.
normal way of talking to people. It's just an online kind of thing. Um,
Yeah.
but anyway, okay, let's move on. And in this, the application form I sent out to people to apply and stuff. Um, I said I asked to come up with a topic and stuff that we were going to discuss and talk about, and you came up with a really interesting topic that was very different to some of the other ones I got, and it stood out to me. So um, that was about like courage for street photographers. So yourself being a street photographer, and this is actually something that I thought kind of hit home for me as well because street photography, especially when I like first started it, and I still haven't done like loads. I've done a little bit. You find that I always find that you kind of in the back of your mind you're thinking, oh, what is that person thinking? Or like, am I supposed to be? Am I allowed to take this photo? What am I in the right place? So why did you want to talk about like courage for street photographers? What is it, something that's you've struggled with, or what is it for you that kicks that
Oh,
topic off?
initially I used to struggle with it.
Mm,
I haven't. I made a video about it, which is coming out later on this month or so, about some tips. But the reason why I said about it was because when I was like starting about a year ago or a year and a half, I used to like because okay, um, let me put it this way. There's this other guy I saw on YouTube. Most times I just search YouTube for different photography stuffs, and then if I see
Yeah,
somebody's page or YouTube video and see that okay, this is very interesting, I just click on it. So there's this other guy I saw. He is in the Bay Area in New York or
yeah,
California. I don't even know which place is there. But
yeah,
he said that you sometimes some people think that oh to be a street photographer you need to have like oh live in the biggest cities
yeah,
and take the London Bridge, Tower Bridge, the Shard, everything like that. But
yeah,
sometimes the thing about street photography is it is more than just those big buildings. You could literally just see someone leave something there. And that thing that the person left there leaves the impression of the person that was there before. Like there was a picture I took of like maybe someone left his cap on the chair, and I took the picture of that chair, and you say, okay, yes, you yourself will start asking questions in your mind. Okay, who was this person here? Was this person like a traveler? He left his cap here, or did the person go to a coffee shop and forgot his cap here?
yeah,
Some of those things will make you like ask yourself questions and say, okay,
yeah,
yes, this is the reason why this person left it. So sometimes it's not really about the big cities that really matters, but about
yeah,
the way you take the photos. So the reason why I talked about courage is because most people always have this fear in them that oh, the reason why they cannot be a street photographer is because they'll get approached. And the thing is, no matter what type of photography you're doing, you will surely get approached. Even if you're a landscape photographer, you go
mm,
to a place and you're taking pictures, there'll be someone random that will come to you, even just one. Let's say there are
yeah,
50 people there, just one person could come to you and ask, oh, can I see that picture? Or
yeah.
you could go to a place like the story you told about when you went to Tower Bridge
Ah,
and
yeah,
then the security told you that you could not take that picture. Some people might say, oh, because of that one experience, they're not going to take pictures. But what the thing is, the fact that you're able to be a street photographer is what should give you the courage. Like that tag, well, I'm not calling it tag, but that name that you give yourself as a street photographer comes
mm,
with a lot of responsibilities, like being vigilant, being courageous. You must be able to like be respectful to people on the road and everything.
yeah,
And North Brother said if you're taking pictures on the streets and you're the way to like um subside the fear, I don't know that's the
yeah,
right word.
yeah, yeah,
Let's say you want to take the picture of this guy that is riding his bicycle coming, and then you put your camera and then you start taking pictures and you check it. The person is coming forward. Just keep pressing that shutter. Don't stop.
yeah,
Let him pass because some people you might take a picture and then someone will be coming and be like, oh, that guy's taking a picture of me. But if you continue pressing that shutter and you just keep
yeah,
taking the picture, the pictures might not be good, it might just be rubbish, and you end up deleting later. But the fact that you just kept pressing that shutter, the person will be like, oh, he's not taking a picture of me. He's probably taking a picture of someone behind.
yeah.
So that
And
courage
then they
of
forget.
you, and you just forget because the thing is, if you're in London or you're in New York,
Yeah,
people are looking around your own thing. Most people don't care. You might think
yeah,
people are looking at you, but some people don't even look at you at all.
yeah,
Like Professor Hines said, when he went to Central Station in New York, he was just taking pictures of people. And like people in New York don't care about what you're doing. They just go
mm,
on their own because everyone is on their own hustle. Like the person might be going to work or might be going to a party, and then you just take a picture of them and they just continue on their own way
yeah,
and they don't care. So if you
yeah,
have
yeah,
that, the way to combat that fear is by having the courage or the mentality that okay, some people don't even care about what you're doing.
yeah,
Not everybody cares. You might care about what other people might think, but other people don't care about what you're thinking.
Yeah, no, that is one of the things that changed it for me is that when you think about it, there will be obviously circumstances like what happened to me in London where people will come up to you and be like, "Oh, you can't take this photo" or whatever, or they'll ask you, and the worst thing they're gonna say is you can't take photos here, and you just say okay, whatever, and you just move on. Like the one shot isn't gonna change your life like that, and so it's not the end of the world, even if that does happen. And of course, it's awkward and it's a bit odd and whatever. But why, like literally what you just said, people don't really care about you being there, especially like you think about New York, the amount of people who live in New York would have seen taking photos. Like it's not like you're the first one, you stand out. There are
Exactly.
so many people in New York doing the exact same thing as you that they probably passed 5 or 6 on their way to work already. They don't care whatsoever. And you'll find the odd person who tries to get out of your shot or whatever. But um, for the most part, it really people aren't going to care. Um, and yeah, I think that it's really key that that fear doesn't stop you from going out and taking photos that you're really going to
Yeah.
enjoy. And they could be great photos and practicing because if you stop people, if people stop you from taking photos or this fear stops you from taking photos, then you're not being able to enjoy yourself and get better and whatever for something that is just in your head and they don't really care. Um, and well, the majority of people aren't even going to notice.
And even in
Um,
addition, in terms of fear, the fear could not be only like people you meet outside. No matter you meet people outside or you're scared or you don't take a picture, you're
yeah,
responsible too, because like there's some people that would say you should delete the picture.
yeah,
Just there's no point of view um arguing with them and
yeah,
saying, oh, it's public space. If like a picture of a building, then that one you can argue your case and say, okay, yes, it's a public place, you can take it. But if it's a picture of a person,
yeah,
some people might not care, some people might care and be like, you delete the picture, just delete the picture. But another part of the courage is in terms of like the work you do, like it should not be um limiting yourself because of fear of what other people might think.
yeah,
Like the other time when I was on the street and then I took this picture of this man giving a beggar money, and I was like, that shows like the message behind the picture, like humanity, like okay, yes, this person is being kind and giving this person money
mm,
and all of that. But then when I posted it on my Instagram, some people were like, oh, that's illegal. You should not be taking a picture of someone that was begging for money, blah 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 blah.
yeah,
So if I was afraid of what people are going to say, I wouldn't have taken the picture. I think I mean that maybe 2 comments were the one that said, "Oh, that's illegal," blah blah blah. Like the remaining 10, 15 comments that were there were like,
yeah,
"Oh wow, that's an amazing picture, good story told, and all of that."
yeah,
So
yeah.
sometimes you should not let the comments of other people to probably limit you from
Impact you
taking
too
your
much.
take.
Yeah. No, I think, and a lot of people, they, especially online, like to be very, keyboard warrior kind of thing and just comment, what, oh, this is a bad photo, or you shouldn't have taken this photo, or, that's bad or whatever. Um, but yeah, we're approaching the end of this. This has been really good. I've really enjoyed chatting, and I think you've got some amazing perspectives on stuff. Especially that stuff about your Instagram, your style. I've found that super interesting, and I hope that people listening also found it interesting. It's going to be a lot of stuff I take away from what you've said. So thank you very much for that. Couple questions before we end. Um, I know that a lot of people will be listening to this and won't be able to, watch it or see it. But what is the street photo you're most proud of, if you can pick one? Helpfully, if it's on your Instagram, we can refer to people a bit. What
Well,
What do you
yeah,
think is your most proud picture?
that's the thing. Most times I will see photos and I'm like, hmm, this photo is like my favorite, and I'm like, I didn't want to post it because someone might see it. Like you might have a unique perspective,
Yeah.
And you might not want another person to see that unique perspective because you think, oh, you might have something, and that thing is not like that thing is very, very useful,
Mm.
and somebody else could use it, and the person could get recognition for it. Meanwhile, the person got inspiration from you. So sometimes I don't like to like show most of like the
Best.
pictures. Yeah,
Your favorite.
don't,
Oh, okay,
I
that's
don't like the
interesting. I
best.
like that. I like that.
Yeah, but like there's this one I took on the London Underground. This
Yeah.
person stood up from a seat and was about going back to her seat, but then somebody was already on the seat. So I just took the picture. Like whenever I'm on the train, I just pick up my camera, whatever it is, and I'm like, okay, this is a very interesting story. And then this person was like on the train, standing up, looking at the person that was on a seat, and I just took the picture of that person in the train. And then the way the underground is like the two carriages that are
Yeah.
separated by this door,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. The
then
dodgy door.
I just framed. I don't know if you can see, but I just framed
Oh wow.
her in
Yeah.
between that glass. So I
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
took that particular picture, and that was like that like to date my favorite picture that I've taken.
That's amazing. I really like that actually. Um, and yeah, I'm gonna be putting this on YouTube, so we'll see.
I'll probably
If you
send you a
don't
picture.
mind, if you send that across, I'll put it on the screen
Yeah,
and then people
I'll send
can
it
have a
to
good look at it. But yeah, no, that's a really nice shot. Okay, what I'm going to be doing with every guest and hopefully all the future guests that come on here as a final thing, you've given a lot of really great advice in here, but I'm going to ask, what is your one final piece of advice for photographers out there that you can give or creatives out there before we end this off?
Hmm. Well, my usual quote is quit talking, start doing.
Yeah,
And the
that's a
reason
great
I
one.
choose that is that whenever someone approaches you or somebody tries to criticize you, just don't talk. Like
Mm.
reply to them or try to like retaliate or say bad things to them. You just do what you always do and keep doing it without bothering. So that's why I always say quit talking. Instead of talking, just do what you always do. Because there's this guy that he said there was this particular image he took. Like I myself really admire that image, but if he didn't take that image, I wouldn't have seen it. But other people, whenever they see that image, they don't think the image is like very good.
Mm.
And the thing is, instead of talking to them and asking them questions, why don't you like this picture? You just do what you're doing because you know the reason why you took that picture.
Yeah.
So just do what you're doing. Instead of talking, just do. Because if you ask them, okay, are you a photographer? 70% of them will say no.
Mm.
So why would you want to talk to someone that's never a photographer? Giving an opinion on your picture, and the opinion is not even like, oh, I really like this image, even though the person is a photographer. The person is like a regular person.
Mm.
Instead of talking to them and asking them questions, you just do what you always do and continue doing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's why I always say quit talking and start
Just
doing.
doing. That's a great one. Really, really good one. And yeah, just a big thank you for coming on, being my first guest. This has been, like I said, really, really good. Great to talk to you for the first time as well.
It's amazing too.
I think you're a great, sound like a great guy. And hopefully we can, when lockdown and quarantine and all that stuff goes away, we can maybe get out and do some photography
Yeah,
at some point.
hopefully.
That'd be really cool.